I'm Soo Ahn. I'm the executive chef at Adalina, Chicago, Illinois. Former professional golfer, now amateur golfer. Do a little cooking, do a little golfing. So golf came first. I started when I was 7. Started with my dad. That was back when we lived in Korea. He really got the golf bug, and he was the typical salaryman, 9 to 5, but then he would work way later hours than 5, obviously, in Korea. And so the only time he would go golfing is like crack of dawn, like 3 in the morning. He'd wake up, then he would always wake me up. And I hated those days when I had to wake up that early. When you're, like 7, 8, 9, like there were so many times I'd throw a tantrum, I'd be crying, whatever it took to like not go out golfing at 3 in the morning. Came to the States when I was, in 6th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. And then I started playing golf with kids my age. And then I really got into it. Started playing in junior tournaments, did well. Played a little bit of college golf. I played at Duke University. I was there not really studying, not really playing golf. So I decided to drop out, take golf seriously, play professional golf for about, 20, so it's 6 years, 7 years. I was lucky enough to play in the PGA Tour Latin America when they first premiered. And that was tough. It was 3 weeks on traveling down in South America where I didn't really speak the language. I wasn't playing really good golf, so I was just emotionally, physically just drained. So I took a little hiatus, started bartending, serving. Then I was lucky enough, there was a chef there who always kind of like showed me little techniques on, there's a sushi spot on his like fish, and he would make me try stuff that's like off the menu. I was like, I really like this. Let's take this seriously, see what happens. Went to Culinary School in Johnson Wales in Charlotte. And part of their curriculum is you have to do a 10-week externship somewhere. And I mean, I was looking everywhere. As much as I love North Carolina, the Carolinas, I don't think it is on par with any of the other states like New York, San Francisco, Chicago, Dallas, any of the cities that really have like this big footprint when it comes to the culinary world. So decided to go out of state, and something about the Chicago chefs they have this chip on their shoulder being like 2nd or 3rd best, just because, San Francisco and New York did come first. They're like, all the big name chefs are there, and the chefs here really want to prove to the world that they are, just as good, if not better than some of these chefs. So I came to do my externship here 10 years ago and haven't left since. So the pasta ladies that come in and do this in the morning, they knock out like 500-600 of these a day. It's pretty insane. When I first got to Chicago, I got my externship at El Ideas, which is a 1 Michelin-star restaurant. We do at most like 28 covers a night. It's a very small restaurant, very detail oriented. We would cook our food, we would serve the food, clean the plates, put the silverware out, the glassware. So I got a real taste of like what it's like to run like a restaurant, like a really small restaurant in a very like micro scale, which was a lot of fun. And then I decided to torture myself and go to Grace, 3 Michelin-star restaurant at that point when they were open. It was only us and Adalina, who were the only 2 restaurants in Chicago that had 3 Michelin stars. Did that for about 2 years. Let's just say that I went in with no white hair, came out with a lot more white hair than I had. And then from there, I was at the Ritz-Carlton for about a year, which is in downtown Chicago. And then I was fortunate enough to take on the role of executive chef at Band of Bohemia when it was open. And we had a Michelin star there. It was a really unique cuisine because usually in a restaurant, you create the food and then the sommelier or the beer expert, they would come and pair the food with whatever drinks you had. We did the opposite, so we would brew the beer first. So it was very beer focused. And then from there, we would have to pair the food with the beer, which was honestly very difficult because you would think that A plus B equals C, but then, in the culinary world, that's how it works. But then with the beer being like the main focus, sometimes those flavor combinations don't really work. So you really have to think outside the box and come up with dishes that the one with the beer. From there, COVID hit. Took a little hiatus from the culinary world. My wife now, at the time she was my girlfriend, but my wife now, she was working remotely, and we were stuck here for about 6 months, and we were just getting so stir crazy. So we decided to take a little trip. We went down to Florida, Georgia, a couple other states, just because she could work remotely, she had the freedom to do that. And during the time I was kind of searching for a job, not really, because I really liked the break I was having from, you know, the crazy hours and the crap pay that I was getting. Foundation donated like a ton of money to that. So at the end of the day, they're personalities, right? And then they have a little earpiece, they get... Somehow I got connected with these guys at Adalina, had a phone interview, and this is while we were on the road. And then he's like, hey, can you come up, you know, tomorrow and do an interview in person? I'm like, maybe not tomorrow, maybe in a couple days. So literally we like cut our trip short, came up here, did my in-person interview with them. And that was probably like late 2020. And then 2021, I was brought on board as the executive chef here at Adalina. And yeah, I've been here since. I hate the word modern, but let's say unique Italian. We do have our staples that are very familiar with our guests, like our meatballs, our veal parm, some of the pasta like our gnocchi and our pomodoro sauce. But we try to take our everyday Italian dishes and put a unique spin on it. Whether it's a pesto or whether it's a chicken piccata that you had, but then it's in a different form. So we try to have a lot of fun here. If you see some of our desserts, it's the same way. It's like, it's a tiramisu, but it's not like any other tiramisu that you've ever had. So we really try to take the everyday offerings and just try to have fun with it. Playing the mini tours and then like the smaller PGA tours, whether it's a Corn Ferry or the PGA Tour Canada or China or Latin America, it's definitely a grind. So I was always looking at the dollar signs of how much I made, trying to see if I could make it further. Am I gonna have enough money to travel next week? Am I gonna, you know, have to share rooms with 4 different guys? Or what's gonna happen the next week? And it just kind of took my love and joy that I had when I was on the golf course really away from it. And now that I'm playing recreationally and amateur tournaments, I found that passion and love again. I really enjoy being out there. Since I am stuck in a kitchen, you know, 10 to 12 hours a day, I don't see daylight sometimes. Come in when it's dark, go out when it's dark. I'm like, what, the sun, where'd it go? So yeah, I just love I enjoy being out there, enjoy the competition, and yeah, just hanging out. So when I was first coming up as a cook, you don't have a choice of when you come into work or when you leave work. So whatever hours you got is whatever hours you get. And I would just try to find days, maybe once a week or once every couple of weeks where I'd go out to the range, or my buddy's like, hey, I have a tea time on Monday, let's go play golf. That's how I would play golf. Now I'm fortunate enough where I can make my own schedule. So there are days where I would, obviously during the winter, it's hard to go out there, but I would do some indoor simulator golf. And during the summers, we have good relationships with our vendors who have access to these golf courses, and we get to go out there and play. So I get to play a little bit more golf now. Elysium flower, same thing, but not as intense as this one. This is a sun-dried tomato. These are like little rice pearls. If you were to ask me as a young baby cook if I would ever do television, I would have said hell no. But one of the owners got in touch with the producer at Chopped, and it was a joke at first, honestly. And one thing led to another. After like 10 interviews and a stack of papers that I had to sign for NDAs, I got to be on Chopped. Traveled to New York for that, and it was tough. I got there. I got to the studio at 6 a.m. I didn't leave till like 10, and I didn't even make it to the finale. I mean, I got chopped. But it's a lot of fun because it's actual cooking. The time restrictions are real. The ingredients that you see on TV, those are real. And if people get cut, that's real too. Fortunately, yeah, I mean, like I didn't get cut or burn myself. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's kind of like a condensed version of like a golf tournament. Instead of having it throughout, 54 holes or 72 holes, it's just like that 30-minute period where you literally have to just focus, can't let anything distract you. You make sure you have a plan and you just execute it. And if you have to pivot, you kind of pivot. But yeah, now that I got a taste of it, I would love to do more. And I was fortunate enough to get approached for another TV show. And that one took a little longer time than a day to shoot. But also, I mean, if I were to get another opportunity to do that, I would definitely do that again in the future. I'm Soo Ahn. I'm a CDGA member. I'm the executive chef at Adalina. And together, we're better through golf.